Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Adam, or Vox, and welcome to another haul video for April 2015. That's when this is being recorded. You may be seeing this in May. I did not realize until I set everything up to actually record this video how much I had for this haul video, so that makes me kind of sad because I apparently spent more money than I thought I had. And the last video I did was in December, so there may be a couple things that I'm missing and or a couple things that are copied over because there's a couple Wii games that I think are new, but I'm not 100% sure. So bear with me on that front. But 99, it's like two things that I'm unsure of, so not a big deal. So I'm going to go kind of by platform or by what things are, because it's not even all games. So to start out, it's covered in dust now, so I need to put it back in a drawer. I have huge dust problems everywhere, and I use my air purifier and I clean often, but dust is hard to fight no matter where you are. I picked up two generic non-Nintendo ones, Wiimotes, and two of the steering wheels for playing Mario Kart. But again, they're not actually Nintendo brands, so they don't have Nintendo logos on them, but they function and work just the same. And then I also got two of the little white gun blaster things as well. And I got, if I pull the controller out here, I got two charge packs and a charger for both the Wiimotes. That way my fiance Chu and I can play some of the Wii games I got and actually experience the Wii generation, which I kind of skipped out on. So I'm kind of excited. They are of course they are hooked up to my Wii U, but it plays the Wii games just the same. I've got the racing wheels, I've got the blasters, and I've got quite a few Wii games now. So pretty excited. So continuing the Wii saga here. Now the two games that I was unsure of whether or not I had already shown are Pokemon Battle Revolution, which in my experience becomes very hard to find nowadays, and Cooking Mama Cook-Off. Yeah, Cooking Mama Cook-Off. It wasn't the original Cooking Mama like I wanted to get, but it's a Cooking Mama game. It's pretty scratched up. I honestly don't even know if it works. I haven't tested it yet, but I didn't really care that much. It was like $4 on sale. And then Battle Revolution I just had to have. They had another Pokemon game that I wanted to get, but they were still like $30, even though this game, we have a date on it. Yeah, 2007. This game is super old, but they still charge a lot for them at GameStop because they're hard to find. So I made sure I had to get it picked up. And then next are I got most of these on Amazon. It's kind of actually split here. So this first set are ones I got on Amazon. I picked up Dragon Blade Wrath of Fire, which I hear is pretty generic and whatever. Geometry Wars Galaxies. It's got a really fancy arts, like glitter shiny cover and end and stuff. And I was pretty excited to find that because I didn't even know that they did a Geometry Wars game on the Wii. And not only did that, it's basically like Geometry Wars 2 from the Xbox 360, just a different version of it, along with the original Geometry Wars Retro Evolved, which I played quite a bit of on the PC, so I'm kind of excited to give that a go. Chicken Blaster. I don't know anything about it. It just looked stupid. It uses the guns, so I wanted to give it a go. And then Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll. I've heard some kind of good things about the Super Monkey Ball games as party games, and so I just picked it up. They were all super cheap. That's the only reason I got some of these weird ones. And then these came from physical stores. This one came from a local store called Five Below, which is just like everything in the store is $5 or under. And they swap out. They have a small selection of Nintendo video games, and they have a DS one at the or last time we went, they had the Adventure Time game on 3DS that I kind of want to pick up now, but I didn't think about it, or I didn't get it for some reason. But when I was there the first time, at Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2. I haven't checked out either Epic Mickey game, but I hear this one is actually really good, so I'm excited to check it out. And it's 2-player co-op games. There we go. The rest of these then came from GameStop. I got Dead Space Extraction. I don't know how good it is, but it's Dead Space and it uses the blaster, so I think it's gonna be pretty fun, even if it's total crap. Metroid Prime Corruption. Awful thing for me to confess, but I confess I've not actually played, well, that's not actually true. I've not played a lot of Metroid games. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Metroid games. I did play some though back when I was a kid. I forgot about that. So haven't played a whole lot of them though, so I'm excited to pick that up. And I also have, I soft modded my Wii so I could play games off a hard drive, and I have the Metroid Prime trilogy as well on there, so I guess that's the first 2 games. So I'll check those out as well. And then lastly, Tournament of Legends, whatever. I don't know. Looks like a brawler, so figured it might be fun. The next category is PlayStation Portable Games, PSP games. I don't actually have a PSP, keep that in mind. I had one at one point in time. I bought it off a buddy at the first university I attended, but then that ended up with my ex-girlfriend when we broke up, and she still has it, so I don't have one. But I'm planning on ordering one soon. Apparently Sony still sells them brand new on Amazon. They're still kind of expensive, but I want to get one because I want to be able to play the games. The big issue I have, and this is a side note real quick, the PSP requires a certain type of micro SD card, basically a micro SD card. I know it's not actually a micro SD card, it's like memory stick duo, but you can get generic one of those. You don't need the Sony specific ones. They're still kind of expensive for what they are, but you can get generic ones. The PlayStation Vita requires its own proprietary memory card that again is basically the exact same thing as a micro SD card. They are balls expensive. So I got, you can't see it, but back here I have a PlayStation TV, which is a home streaming box that allows you to stream your PlayStation 4 games over the net. It lets you do some like basic video apps and things like that, but it also lets you play PSP and PS Vita games on it on your TV with a controller. That's what I've always wanted for the PSP. It only has 1 GB of space, so the very first game that I actually owned to my PlayStation account that I wanted to download was 6 GB, so I can't play it yet. I looked into getting a memory card. I figured I'd get the biggest one because it's not going to be useful to me if I don't have a decent amount of storage size. A 64 GB one is like over $100. That's absurd. That's worse than solid state drives. That doesn't make any damn sense. And so if you know where I can get one or one that works with it cheaper, let me know, because I need that. I want to play Final Fantasy 13 Dissidia with controller. But Target, actually, a Target near my fiance's house, Chu's house, had a bunch of PSP games out. They just seemed to have like cleared out the back room, I guess, because they had a bunch of random old stuff out there, and they had a bunch of PSP games. And so there are a couple more I didn't get, like a Toy Story game and a FIFA game and stuff that I may pick up when I have some throwaway money just to add to the collection. But I got ones that I wanted to actually have while we were there. And so, most importantly, I got Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. And these are all brand new, which is amazing. I hear this is a really good game. This I actually had with my PSP originally and never got to play, so I actually have it now. From what I heard, this was actually hard to find, and they had quite a few copies there, so I was excited to pick it up. But I checked on Amazon, and they weren't, like, I wouldn't be able to resell it for any high value. Like, they were selling on Amazon cheaper than I would buy it for, so. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I hear the PSP Metal Gear Solid games are pretty good. The Metal Gear, like, Acid or whatever games are kind of weird from what I hear. Daxter. Heck yeah. And then they had 2 dual packs. So this first dual pack, see, it's got 2 different games literally just put in a box. Siphon Filter, Logan Shadow, and Killzone Liberation. The Killzone games are pretty cool. And the dual packs seem pretty cool as well. These were a good way of getting PSP games. And then you have a second one with Siphon Filter Dark Mirror, Siphon Filter Dark Mirror, and SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo. SOCOM games are kinda to me, but I thought it'd be cool. And the Siphon Filter games are pretty cool. Next category, we actually have DVDs. There was another store right by that Five Below store that I mentioned called Bargain Hunt, which is just like a store that has just a bunch of returns and damaged goods from various retail stores, so like clothes from Target and goofy things like that. And they had a bunch of secondhand DVDs that were $5 for $10 at the starting price. So I picked up a few. And I know they're not Blu-rays, but they're stuff I wanted in the collection when they were still in decent condition in the cases anyway. So I got Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which is an awesome film. And I do have it on Blu-ray, but the voices, I feel like the English voices on the Blu-ray seem totally different and not the same as the DVD version that I remember watching previously. And so I'm hoping this has the voices that I remember, or I'm just going crazy. But I thought the voices on the Blu-ray version were different. I got Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2. Kill Bill is, of course, a Quentin Tarantino directed franchise film stuff, and there's some pretty good movies. I like them. Iron Man Rise of the Technovores. This was a fairly recently released, 2013 Iron Man animated film with the more modern interpretations of the Avengers Squad. So you have Iron Man, Hawkeye, the Punisher, which is pretty cool, War Machine, Black Widow, and then it has Nick Fury on the back here. So, pretty cool. And then lastly, Cowboy Bebop the movie. I didn't even know they made a Cowboy Bebop movie, so I was pretty excited to see this. So, picked it up as well. They had a few others that I was kind of interested in, but the DVDs were bought more recently, and I'm kind of sparse on money at the moment, so whatever. I did pick up a couple more PS2 games while I was out, or actually all of these came from Amazon, so not while I was out, but I picked up a couple more PS2 games. I was looking around, and I picked up Obscure the Aftermath. The game is literally so obscure that it's called Obscure. No one's ever heard of it. I've messed around, and on top of everyone joking about it, no one's heard about it. But this is an example of what I loved about the PS2 generation, was there were so many just random, especially from the Japanese developers, just so many random cool and unique games that came out. There's so much you could do on the PlayStation 2, so many different games. And I want to try to collect a lot of them and give them a shot, because it was a freaking awesome generation. And there are so many games that just nobody's heard of that are pretty cool. So I've got my fat PS2, also soft modded with the network hard drive, hooked up to a component to HDMI converter, hooked up to my Elgato HD60. So I'm hoping to do some gaming related videos on the PS2 soon. Picked up Medal of Honor Rising Sun. This is actually what started me getting PS2 videos games, because I specifically went out to get this game on Amazon, because for my rhetorical criticism class during this last semester at university, I read for one of the assignments, we had a list of like various criticism pieces that we could read for each chapter, and one of them for narrative criticism was basically a analysis of this game using narrative criticism. And it seemed like a pretty awesome Medal of Honor game. So I was like, hey, I'll go pick it up and see what it's like. Because the Medal of Honor games do a pretty good job of telling really good stories. But as I've mentioned, which I'll have it here in a minute, a lot of the newer ones kind of force you to walk through the story even if you don't want to. They kind of handhold you through what they want you to do instead of walking around. So I'm interested to play an older one again. It's been many years since I've done it the last time, and see how they played in the past. And then keep in mind, I know there's at least one PS2 game and one Xbox 360 game that I don't have here because they didn't have cases, and they're in my various binders somewhere. But I know I picked up PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy on the PS2, which I kept getting recommendations for as being a great game. And then Army of Two, either the Devil's Cartel or the 40th Day. I can't remember which. I think I have both now of the sequels to Army of Two. So that's pretty cool. And then I picked up, which was the only one I could afford at the moment, and this was the closest I could find to a good copy, Fatal Frame 3: The Tormented. Fatal Frame is an awesome franchise, again, on the PlayStation 2 from Tecmo Koei. And they're pretty hard to find just because everyone wants to hold on to them. Freaking fantastic franchise, or like series of games. And this one has the manual in like pristine condition and the disc. It's just in a generic case. So if I can get a case for it, that'd be pretty cool. And then I'd really like to grab the first two as well, because like I said, awesome games. And so I'm glad to have it with the manual, because normally you get the case, you don't get the manual. This time I got the manual, not the case, but hopefully I'll be able to get the other two at some point as well. Our smallest category here is the PlayStation 3 games. Also on Amazon I picked up Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. I don't think it was this one, but there were two Prince of Persia games that came out on the original Xbox that my dad and I had when we had the original Xbox and played and absolutely loved. I think it was just like Prince of Persia and then Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time or something. And they were pretty good. So I wanted to pick up another one, and this is the one that I ran across for cheap, so I'm gonna pick it up and give it a shot. Hopefully it's pretty cool. And it also has interconnectivity with the PlayStation, or with the PSP, as I see here now. So maybe if I wait till I get a PSP, I can see what you can do with it. Also, I've heard that the PSP is quite moddable and you can do lots of cool things with it. One of the things I'm looking forward to is that it has analog video outputs, so I can be able to capture it. It's going to be pretty low quality, but it's going to be better than any, like that's your only option really. It has video out via composite. So I don't know what you would do to mod it, because again, you don't have any storage on it. You'd have to get tiny little memory cards, but capturing from it, that's going to be pretty cool. And that's also why I was happy to get the PlayStation TV when it came with my PS4. But when I have physical games, I'll try to play the physical versions as well. Then I picked up Medal of Honor Warfighter on the PlayStation 3. Now, I think I've already defended my choice of getting this game because it's an absolutely, well, the multiplayer was pretty bad. It had a lot of publicity around it. They did this whole video series event on YouTube with popular gamers and things like that, but it wasn't a great game. I originally attempted a playthrough of a not so legitimate PC copy on my TF2 channel a while back, and the game wouldn't go past a certain point, so I kind of dropped it. Well, I've mentioned this quite a few times now, so I promise I'll shut up about it now, but I've actually completed a playthrough of this game already. Once my Halo Spartan Strike series is done uploading, this series will go up, and I had fun with it. Again, the newer ones still do a great job at telling the stories they want to tell. It just starts to be more of a movie than a game. All right, we're almost done. Like I said, there was a lot. Next up is Xbox 360. I picked up Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z. I think I remember hearing about this game potentially coming out and thinking it was stupid, but I'm looking at it and it looks kind of badass. And I mean, I'm sure it sucks as a Ninja Gaiden game or whatever, but it looks like a pretty badass game and it's in really good quality. The manual's kind of screwed up because it's got 2 discs to it and the little disc flap has dug into the manual here, so that sucks. I hate it when they do that. But it's in good quality, and it even came with a Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z Dark Horse comic in it, and it's all in color, and that's still here, so that's pretty cool. It also came with apparently an add-on code for Xbox Live, and since it seems to be that whoever got this didn't pay much attention to it, hopefully that code is still usable. I haven't actually tested it yet, I should do that. Next up, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Obviously not a new game to my collection, but while I was working at GameStop during the summer of 2012, I had about 2 or 3 copies of Modern Warfare 2 and traded them all in, because I decided I'd never play it again, and I'd just rather have some game credit, because they traded in for a decent amount. Well, I would like to give it another try, and now I don't have a playable multiplayer copy, so I picked it back up. It was only a couple bucks. Don't hate me. Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom. Another super cheap GameStop find. I always looked at it while I was at GameStop and wondered what it was. It looks like it could be an interesting little fantasy game, so I'm gonna give it a go at some point. And lastly, on the Xbox 360, Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. Now, I've played Battlefield 2 on the PC before, but I've never played this Xbox rendition. And something odd, it only goes up to 1080i. Doesn't go up to 1080p, 1080i, it specifically lists. Normally, either game just goes up to 720p or it goes all the way to 1080p. This one is limited to 1080i, just kind of weird, but obviously the multiplayer probably doesn't work anymore, especially knowing EA, but playing through the single player campaign and seeing how the graphics look on the Xbox 360 ought to be interesting. And then lastly, in this crazy hauls video, I have a few PS4 games. I'm finally building my PS4 collection up. Obviously I picked up Destiny when I got the PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 4 came with a digital copy of The Last of Us, but I wanted a couple more games to play on. So I picked up Metal Gear Solid V Ground Zeroes, which is kind of the prequel game to Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. And I've played through some of it, or maybe I did like the main mission, and then there's some expansion stuff. But actually, I horribly suck at Metal Gear games, which is why you've probably never seen a video from me on Metal Gear games, because I'm just awful at them. I suck at it. So I'm hoping with all the new ones coming out that I can get better at it. And this just looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, I did actually own this on Steam, but I never played it on Steam, and I really wanted to play it on PlayStation because that to me is Metal Gear's home. But like I said, it sucks. But apparently I get extra items in the Phantom Pain by owning this. Not sure how that works. Bound by Flame, an awesome looking RPG that I heard a lot about when it came out on the PC, and they apparently ported it over to the PlayStation 4. So I'm pretty excited to give it a go. And yes, you will notice a trend with me. I am primarily probably a PC gamer. I would happily say I'm primarily a PC gamer. That's why my main video rig is not just for editing, it's also for gaming. But when I have a new console, I want to make sure I have games to play on it and experience. And I like to vary where I play my games. I have a Steam library with literally over 500 games. And I really like having physical copies. And B, I want to keep bouncing back and forth between platforms to enjoy games. And so, picked this up on the PlayStation 4 to build up my PlayStation 4 collection and just have a little bit of variety up in here. Shadow Warrior! I know absolutely nothing about this game. I'm excited to play it. It looks absolutely amazing. It's a first-person shooter with zombies and shadow abilities and swordplay and powers and demons, and looks pretty badass. It's probably not actually like a quality game overall, but it was recommended to me and it just looks insanely badass. So I'm excited to give it a go. It just looks like a game I can just tear shit up and have a blast in. Lastly, for this haul's video, I picked up the Metro Redux pack. I did own Metro 2033 on the PC from one of the Humble Bundles, but I never really got around to playing it. It just, I don't know, never got around to it. So I saw this on an Amazon sale and thought I'd pick it up. It's pretty awesome looking. I just, like I said, never gave it a go. So I'm excited to have them both together and try to see what happens. So that was my crazy, super long, much longer than I expected hauls video for spring 2015. I do hope you enjoy, guys. I picked up games for PlayStation Portable, the PSP, the PS2, PS3, PS4, and Xbox 360, as well as some DVDs. And then, like I said, there's tons of digital stuff that I'm not going to put in a hauls video as well. I can't wait to start getting into some more older stuff. As you can see, my usual hauls videos were like current generation, and now I'm slowly going back. I really want to get into some of the retro stuff, and I want to start playing some of the older PC games from my childhood and things like that. So I actually am working on setting up a virtual machine running Windows 98 so I can play some super old games and maybe record them and stuff. If you're interested in seeing that on the gaming channels, let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a future video. My name's Adam, Vox. Have a nice day.